Alright guys, now we're going to focus on factorial notation. And if you plan to take calculus, which I highly doubt because you are pursuing a social science degree, you'll be seeing the factorial be used again when it comes to series, the Taylor series. But enough of that for right now. So the next couple of techniques we're going to be using and learning about, we'll use factorial notation. And that is used for the counting principle as well. The symbol for factorial notation is an exclamation mark. In general, n factorial means to multiply a whole number from n down to 1. And we're going to be going over some things as well. I also gave you a definition as well of a factorial. N factorial is n times n minus 1 times n minus 2 times n minus 3 times all the way you multiply to get down to 1. Okay. Now, read n exclamation part as n factorial. So don't, well, I won't know if you say it or not, but it won't be n exclamation mark, it'll be n factorial. And 0 factorial is defined as 1. And the reason why it is because how many ways can you choose 0 objects? There is only one way to choose nothing, and that's just by having nothing. That's why 0 factorial is 1. So what we're going to do is, which may appear on your exams, is we're going to evaluate each expression. We're going to evaluate 8 factorial, and then we're going to evaluate 12 factorial divided by 10 factorial. And I may throw another one in just in case. So 8 factorial, we're going to multiply 8 down to 1. Multiply the n value down to 1. So that's saying 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. You can multiply that. If you multiply 8 times 7 times 6 times 4 all the way down to 1, that's going to give you, will give us 40,320. That is the answer. Now, if you have an Android phone, you have a calculator that looks like this. You can hit 8 here. You can go to the arrows going left and right. Click on that. And then you can go down to the factorial symbol, which is down here. Click on that. Hit enter, and you get your answer of 40,320. If you have an iPhone, turn your iPhone sideways. Make sure your rotation is on. When you turn your rotation on sideways, you may see it on the different categories that are there, or you might have to click the second button. Click on second, and then you see the factorial. Type in the number that you want to find a factorial for, which is 8. Click on the exclamation mark, and it'll give you your answer. If you have a calculator, a graphing calculator, you can go to math on a graphing calculator. Remember to find the math button, go all the way over to PRB, and you should see an option for the factorial. But make sure you type the number in first. So type number in first. So type number. Go to math, PRB, choose, enter. And that's how you can find your factorial if you have a graphing calculator. I believe if you go on Google as well, on the Google calculator, let's do that real quick. You can go here, click 8, the factorial is on the top, hit enter, get your answer. So there's many different ways to compute a factorial than just doing 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4. Leaving it as that. Okay, let's do the next one. 12 factorial divided by 10 factorial. Well, I prefer us to expand. 12 times 11 times 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 times 6. Divided by 10 factorial, which is 10 times 9 times 8. And that's simplify. Although if you do it in calculator, you get the same answer. But when it comes to your exam, they want it usually in a fraction form, if a fraction form is possible. That's why I want you guys to know how to expand it. Now, I can simplify. Because here, my 10s simplify each other out. My 9s, 8s, 7s, 6, 5s, 4s, 3s, 2s, and 1s. They simplify each other out. So I'm left with just 12 times 11, which is 132. And you guys will get the same answer if you did it in your calculator. 12 factorial divided by 10 factorial will give us 132. But there's a reason why I did it that way. It's because you have to know how to do it by hand as well as in a calculator. And instead of us having to expand it, if you notice, the 10 factorial in my denominator got completely simplified out. Therefore, moving forward, you can expand the larger factorial until you reach the term of the smaller factorial. Example, I can write 12 factorial as 12 times 11 times 10 factorial. I can end there because I have a 10 factorial in my denominator. And if I end there, they simplify each other out, leaving me with just 12 times 11, which is also 132. So instead of us expanding down all the way, or perhaps even using a calculator, which always won't be the best way, especially if the bottom is larger than the top, you can use it in this method right here. I'm going to do one more of these. Let's do one more of these. Sorry for making it so long, but I want to get you guys ready for the exam, and I want you guys to feel confident in your work. I'm going to go over to the side. You know, when I go over to the side, I'm going to do some nonsense problems. Let's do 8 factorial times 5 factorial divided by 9 factorial times 7 factorial. This will be an exam question, per se. What you want to do is, right, you want to line up the biggest on the top with the biggest on the bottom, and the smallest on the top with the smallest on the bottom, which kind of look like they're already lined up. If you get one of these, break that up into two different fractions. 8 factorial over 9 factorial. And let's do times 5 factorial over 7 factorial. Now, the bigger factorial in the first fraction is 9, so I'm going to expand that one. 9 times 8 factorial. I'm going to stop there because I have 8 factorial on the top, and they simplify each other out. So now I'm just left with 1 over 9. Remember, when you simplify the top, there will not be a 0. There will be a 1 remaining. For this one, 5 factorial over 7 factorial, the bigger factorial is in my denominator. So I'm going to expand that one until I reach the smaller one. So 7 times 6 times 5 factorial. Simplify those out. And I'm left with now 1 over 7 times 6 is 42. I can now multiply my fractions straight across, tops and bottoms. 1 times 1 is 1. 9 times 42 is going to be 378. And that is my answer. If you do it in a calculator, you're going to get a decimal, which will not be satisfactory answer for this question. So right here is an exam question. But other than that, that's how you go about it, guys. So hopefully this makes sense to you. And this is the end of the video. We're going to transition into permutations and knock that out. All right.